In this video, I'll guide you on how to train your mind to behave as if nothing disturbs you, thus freeing yourself from the shackles of your emotions and owning them instead. Because once you cultivate this ability, nothing and no one will wield power over you again. The first step in embracing the "nothing bothers me" mentality involves realizing that life is filled with noise, opinions from others, daily annoyances, unforeseen challenges. The world is unyielding in its capacity to introduce distractions, critiques, and obstacles along your journey. But what if I were to share that genuine strength lies in perfecting the blissful state of indifference? Picture yourself walking through a storm without flinching or losing your poise. This is what it means to embody the mindset of being unaffected. The crux of this approach lies in learning to separate your emotions from outside events. When you permit external situations to dictate how you feel, you become a puppet manipulated by influences you cannot control. Conversely, when you train your mind to remain steady and unchanged, you take command of your own fate. The world holds respect for those who maintain their composure amid chaos, those who do not buckle under duress. When you embrace such a mindset, you exude authority without uttering a single word. You navigate life with power, presence, and unwavering self-assurance. Reflect on the most impactful figures from history. They weren't the ones who reacted hastily to every slight or criticism. Instead, they moved with an air of calmness, as if possessing knowledge that others lacked. Their true strength resided not in their capacity to dispute or retaliate, but in their capability to remain unfazed. This illustrates the genuine power of indifference. Consider the lessons drawn from literature on self-mastery and success. The most significant insight is that thought precedes action. What you believe, you will ultimately manifest. When you respond emotionally to the circumstances around you, you relinquish your strength. Conversely, if you nurture a steadfast mindset, the universe aligns itself with your intentions. Those who accomplish remarkable feats recognize this truth. Mastering the mind equates to mastering your reality. Picture an instance where someone insults you publicly. The instinctive reaction for many involves anger, retaliation, or defending themselves. But consider what occurs when you simply smile and walk away. You deprive the provocateur of their power. They anticipated a reaction, and when it doesn't materialize, they are left feeling unsettled, while you depart stronger, untouched, and invincible. This is the quiet authority that few grasp, yet everyone admires. The same principle applies to failures and setbacks. When confronted with rejection or defeat, many individuals let their emotions dominate, sinking into frustration and spending days, weeks, or even years mourning their missteps. Those who appreciate the significance of indifference regard failure merely as data, a learning opportunity, an adjustment, a stepping stone. They don't internalize failure. Instead, they observe it, modify their approach, and progress. How can you develop this degree of control? It starts with training your mind. Make it a daily routine to pause before reacting. Ask yourself, is this situation genuinely impacting my long-term objectives? Is my response necessary, or am I relinquishing my power? By consistently opting for non-reaction, you forge a protective barrier that shields you from the trivialities of life. An additional vital component is visualization. See yourself as someone who navigates life impervious to disturbances. Envision a version of yourself that remains unflinching in the face of insults and doesn't buckle under pressure. By consistently reinforcing this image in your mind, it becomes your reality. The power of the mind is profound, and what you visualize repeatedly, you will become. Allow others to wonder why you remain unshaken. Let them question how you maintain your poise, because when you convey that nothing disturbs you, you dictate the game. You transform into an enigma that others respect, can never clearly grasp, and within that enigma lies your strength. True power isn't about control or aggression. It's about an impactful presence, one so profound that it requires no validation. It's a presence that earns respect in silence through a steadfast mindset. To master this is to master life, To remain steady, reflect on the strongest individuals you know. They don't react on impulse or allow feelings to dictate their actions. Instead, they pause, evaluate, and respond thoughtfully. This doesn't mean they lack emotions. Rather, they have learned to master them. Emotional detachment is not about stifling feelings, but rather about managing them. Imagine you're embroiled in a heated discussion and the other person is trying to provoke you. Do you react? Do you allow their words to dictate your emotions, or do you remain unaffected, knowing their words are powerless unless you grant them significance? Emotional detachment involves maintaining your peace against external influences. It's recognizing that your internal world is inviolable. By adopting this mindset, stress diminishes, clarity enhances, and life's challenges transform into mere puzzles rather than conflicts to engage in. Consider the principle that our thoughts shape our reality. What you concentrate on, you attract. When you permit external factors to steer your mindset, you become a prisoner to your circumstances. Conversely, by taking command of your thoughts and feelings, you become the architect of your destiny. Reflect on the tale of a man who lost everything. His business failed, his investments plummeted, and he found himself with nothing. Most would succumb to hopelessness, but he chose to regard the situation as a lesson rather than a disaster. He recognized that his mind was his greatest asset, immune to any external loss. With this perspective, he rebuilt everything, ultimately stronger than before. This illustrates the power of detachment. When you cease to identify with failures or setbacks, you liberate yourself to rise above them. A significant reason many people struggle to reach their potential. Goals is emotional turbulence. They allow fear, uncertainty, and frustration to take control. They begin with enthusiasm, but quit as soon as they encounter obstacles. In contrast, those who master detachment realize that emotions are temporary sensations. They refuse to let fleeting feelings disrupt their long-term objectives. They persist because they have conditioned their minds to view challenges as opportunities rather than barriers. Cultivating emotional detachment doesn't imply becoming cold or uncaring. It means not permitting external circumstances to dictate your internal state. You can still feel happiness, sadness, and excitement while maintaining control. Your emotions should serve your purpose, not rule you. To foster this mindset, practice taking a step back in emotionally charged situations. The next time someone insults you, take a moment to pause. Instead of responding immediately, reflect on your feelings. Ask yourself, does this impact my life in a significant way? More often than not, the answer will be no. By choosing not to react, you strip them of their power over you. Detachment also springs from having a clear sense of purpose. When you possess a strong vision, trivial distractions won't faze you. Your focus becomes unwavering, as you recognize your energy is too precious to squander on things that do not benefit you. The world belongs to those who have mastered themselves. The more you nurture emotional regulation, the more invincible you become. While others may panic, you remain composed, and while they react impulsively, you take measured responses. This gives you an edge that is rare. True strength isn't about physical dominance or loud proclamations. It's about exuding an unshakable presence that commands respect without demanding it. When you grasp the art of emotional detachment, you don't just go through life, you steer it. Mindful indifference is indeed a superpower. We are conditioned to think we must care about everything, people's opinions, their validation, and their judgments. Society teaches us that our worth is tied to how much we invest in others' thoughts and assessments, expectations from others. True freedom is realized when you acknowledge that a lot of things just don't hold real significance. The next time you catch yourself overanalyzing, ask yourself if this will matter 5 years from now. If the answer is no, then let it go. Most of our worries, whether it's criticism, temporary obstacles, or fleeting embarrassments, lose their weight over time. Yet we allow them to occupy our thoughts, govern our feelings, and dictate our behavior. This is precisely why achieving indifference is crucial for reclaiming your strength. Indifference isn't about lacking concern, it's about setting priorities. It means recognizing that your energy is limited and making a conscious choice to direct it towards what truly warrants your attention. Not every conflict is worth engaging in, nor is every opinion worthy of your consideration. When you cease to react to every little inconvenience, you take back control, transitioning from being emotionally volatile to strategically responsive. And this change can transform everything. Consider the people you admire most. They are rarely the ones scrambling for approval or reacting emotionally to every hurdle. Instead, they stand resolute, unaffected by the turmoil around them. They possess a clear sense of self and are consequently less susceptible to influence or manipulation. Adopting this outlook leads to a remarkable outcome. People begin to regard you with greater respect, not because you're seeking their approval, but because they recognize you as someone who remains steadfast. In a world where many are eager to blend in and gain favor, the individual who upholds their sense of worth holds genuine power. Imagine a scenario where someone unjustly critiques you. The emotionally weak might instantly react, defending themselves, over-explaining, or retaliating. In contrast, the strong maintain their calm. They know that words hold power only if they permit them to. By refraining from reaction, they retain control, not just over the situation, but within themselves, and that self-respect commands more reverence than any emotional outburst ever could. This principle is equally true in the realm of success. Those who achieve greatness are not the ones who squander their energy. On insignificant matters, they are intensely focused on their objectives, refusing to be diverted by trivial dramas or external opinions. They function with clarity, aware that each moment spent fretting over inconsequential issues is a moment taken away from their advancement. So, how can you nurture this type of indifference? Begin by assessing your responses. The next time you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety building up over something minor, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? More often than not, the answer will likely be no. Cultivate the habit of releasing what does not benefit you. Another effective practice is to establish clear priorities. Identify what genuinely matters to you, your purpose, your development, your peace of mind. When you possess a solid foundation of self-worth, the views and judgments of others start to lose their influence over you. You become impervious, not because you lack concern for anything, but because you are deeply invested in the right things. This is the truth that many overlook. Real power resides not in seeking approval, but in remaining unshaken by rejection. It exists in your capability to distance yourself from what exhausts you, to transcend minor disputes, and to maintain focus in a world brimming with distractions. Ultimately, it isn't about caring less, it's about caring wisely. It's about making deliberate choices regarding where to channel your energy and refusing to squander it on matters that do not merit your attention. Because when you master the skill of indifference, you don't merely survive, you flourish. In a society where everyone is overly preoccupied with pleasing others, the person who stands firm in their self-worth will invariably rise above the crowd. Cease the pursuit of approval, as it is a trap that places your joy in the hands of others, creating dependence on their validation. The truth is that no one's perception of you should overshadow your own. The instant you permit someone else to determine your value, you relinquish control over your life. Genuine confidence isn't granted. It's cultivated through self-reliance, through knowing that you are sufficient on your own. Anyone's consent to be authentic. Reflect on those charismatic people you've met. They don't plead for acceptance, nor do they diminish themselves to blend in. They embrace their true selves, imperfections and all, and that's what gives them strength. Their power lies in their steadfast self-identity. While many chase after approval, they forge their own paths with unapologetic intention. The desire for validation stems from fear, the fear of being rejected, judged, or standing alone. However, here's the reality. The more you seek affirmation, the more you relinquish your power, becoming ensnared by others' expectations, contorting yourself to conform to pre-established molds. In that process, you betray your true self. Freedom arises when you let go of the compulsion to please everyone. It's a misconception to believe universal acceptance is achievable. No matter your actions, there will always be differing opinions. Some will admire you, while others criticize, and many simply won't care. So why exhaust yourself trying to satisfy everyone? Look at the individuals who have transformed the world. Leaders, innovators, creators. They aren't preoccupied with conformity. Their drive is fueled by a vision, a purpose, and an inner passion. They encounter criticism but remain undeterred. Their confidence is anchored in something sturdier than public opinion. It is rooted in self-belief, and that is what renders them unstoppable. If you aim to escape the approval trap, start by questioning whose views genuinely matter. Often, the loudest critiques come from those who don't share your path or grasp your experiences, and their opinions hold no real significance unless you permit them to. An essential step is learning to affirm yourself. Recognize your progress. Celebrate your achievements, no matter their scale. By acknowledging your own value, the need for external validation diminishes. You no longer require applause to feel worthy, for you inherently know you are enough. Detaching from the quest for approval doesn't equate to arrogance or dismissal. It signifies a solid self-stand. In who you are, it entails valuing your own decisions, embracing your individual journey, and refusing to allow others to steer your course. It requires recognizing that your worth is not subject to negotiation or debate. The instant you cease pursuing validation is the instant you begin to live authentically. You no longer sift your thoughts, actions, or aspirations through the filter of others' expectations. Instead, you navigate through life with genuine authenticity, courage, and an unwavering sense of purpose. Not everyone will get you or support your path, and that's perfectly fine. The ones who truly matter will respect you, not because you seek their approval, but because you do not depend on it. So, prioritize yourself. Stand firm in your convictions, your principles, and your vision. Release the need for outside validation and embrace the strength of self-acceptance. Once you accomplish this, you become untouchable, not because you have everyone's permission, but because it is no longer necessary for you to attain it. Next, learn to manage criticism. Criticism is a part of life, but your approach to it reveals your fortitude. Many people falter at the first hint of disapproval, taking every remark to heart and allowing it to shape their identity, guide their actions, and undermine their resolve. Yet criticism is simply an assembly of words, opinions, and perspectives, often originating from those who lack insight into your journey. The truth is, criticism wields only as much influence as you allow it. When you respond emotionally, you permit it to govern you. In contrast, processing it logically allows you to retain control. Resilient individuals don't permit criticism to rattle them. They evaluate it with a composed mindset, taking what is beneficial and discarding the rest. There's no unnecessary emotional response or overreaction. It's all focused attention on what truly matters. The crucial takeaway is to assess criticism through reason, not emotion. Retain what aids your growth, dismiss what doesn't, and never let another's view disturb your peace. There are two main forms of criticism, constructive and destructive. Constructive criticism is invaluable. It's meant to help you grow. Comes from individuals who possess expertise, insight, and a sincere wish to see you succeed. This is the kind of feedback you should embrace. In contrast, destructive criticism aims to undermine and often arises from envy, insecurity, or a lack of comprehension. Such opinions hold no weight unless you make the error of accepting them as truth. Picture a sculptor meticulously crafting a masterpiece. While he chisels, onlookers gather. Some appreciate his work, others provide constructive suggestions, and a few deride his efforts. Does the sculptor abandon his creation due to a handful of negative comments? Absolutely not. He perseveres, guided by his vision and filtering out distractions. This is the manner in which you should tackle criticism. When someone casts judgment upon you, ask yourself, does this individual possess the experience or authority to evaluate my worth? If they do, weigh their feedback thoughtfully. If they do not, simply move on. Remember, not every voice warrants your attention. Most criticism originates from individuals who have never attempted what you are doing, and their words reflect their own limitations, not yours. Criticism serves as a gauge of your emotional fortitude. Individuals lacking mental strength tend to react defensively, arguing or retreating into self-doubt. In contrast, the strong remain steadfast. They acknowledge criticism, process it, but refuse to let it disturb their inner tranquility. By responding to criticism with a calm demeanor, you demonstrate that your confidence is unwavering. Reflect on the great thinkers throughout history, visionaries, innovators, and leaders. Each one of them encountered relentless criticism. Their ideas faced skepticism. Their choices were scrutinized, yet they forged ahead, unwilling to let external negativity deter them. Their capacity to remain resolute in the face of doubt distinguished them. They recognized that criticism is frequently the toll for progress. To cultivate this mindset, practice detachment. When someone criticizes you, take a moment to pause instead of reacting instantly. Reflect upon whether there is merit in their words. If there is, learn from it. If not, dismiss it. As you master this skill, you liberate yourself from the distractions of criticism. Emotional weight that comes from seeking validation. Another effective method is self-communication. When you genuinely trust in yourself, external opinions lose their hold over you. True confidence originates internally rather than relying on others' approval or disapproval. The instant you comprehend this, you become resilient against meaningless criticism. The world will always have differing views. Some will commend you, while others may question your abilities. Ultimately, the only viewpoint that genuinely matters is your own. Real strength lies in your capacity to acknowledge criticism, assess it logically, and move ahead without losing your focus. So, when someone critiques you, remember it's just noise. Absorb any lessons from it if needed, but never allow it to define who you are. The strongest individuals do not shy away from criticism. Instead, they either utilize it wisely or ignore it altogether. Next, maintain your composure in stressful situations. Pressure reveals true character. Some individuals falter, while the strong remain steadfast. Why? They prepare their minds for challenges before they arise, recognizing that pressure isn't an exception, it's an inevitability. Once you learn to anticipate these challenges, you cease to be taken aback by them. The key is to detach from your desire for control. Grasp this: not everything will unfold as you intend. You'll encounter disappointments, face obstacles, and experience unexpected setbacks. However, you should not react with emotion. Instead, respond with thoughtful strategy and calm assessment. Many people crumble under pressure because they resist what is real. They expect life to be smooth, foreseeable, and manageable. When reality differs, they panic, complain, or become paralyzed. Conversely, those who equip themselves to face uncertainty adapt and navigate through chaos rather than resist it. Imagine a seasoned warrior. He enters battle not anticipating an easy encounter, but instead preparing for opposition, traps, and unforeseen dangers, yet he remains composed. This composure stems from his acceptance of the harsh truths of conflict. He doesn't squander energy wishing for ease, but concentrates on effective execution. You, too, must adopt this mindset. Will challenge you, it will present you with stress, setbacks, and uncertainty. However, if you've trained yourself to maintain composure under pressure, nothing will rattle you. While others may panic, you will act with precision. You won't react impulsively. You will respond thoughtfully. There lies immense strength in mastering not just control over external circumstances, but also over your own self. When you no longer demand perfection from situations, you become truly unstoppable. Acknowledging that pressure is a constant allows you to stop fearing it. Instead, you recognize it for what it is, an opportunity to enhance your poise. Consider the greatest leaders, those resilient individuals who remain unflinching amid chaos. They don't buckle when things go awry. They project calmness, certainty, and control. This remarkable steadiness is what distinguishes them. Observers marvel, questioning how they remain so unperturbed while others fall apart. The answer lies in their mental training. They anticipate difficulties and rehearse their responses long before challenges arise. Aware that emotions can cloud judgment, they detach from unnecessary feelings, prioritizing logic over panic. In doing so, they preserve an advantage that most individuals never achieve. To cultivate this level of control, begin by altering your perception of pressure. View it as a game or a test of your discipline. When faced with stress, challenge yourself to stay calm and observe your emotions without allowing them to dictate your actions. The more you practice this, the more instinctual it will become. Furthermore, preparation is a vital aspect. The most resilient individuals don't wait for pressure to hit. They train for it. Mentally rehearse worst-case scenarios to condition your mind to remain steady in stressful situations. By practicing this, nothing will catch you off guard. You transition into a strategist instead of a reactor. Many people navigate life unprepared, relying on hope instead of discipline. They expect circumstances to favor them, and when they don't, they crumble. In contrast, those who prepare their minds for adversity do not falter. Break they stand firm, unaffected by the pressures around them. So when the tension escalates, remind yourself, this is my trial. My opportunity to demonstrate my self-control. While others may panic, you will take a deep breath. While others react impulsively, you will analyze the situation. And as the storm subsides, you will remain standing, untouched, unshaken, and unbreakable. As Hill suggested, letting go of what lies outside your control is crucial. Suffering often stems from clinging to outcomes, expectations, and those elements we cannot sway. We hold tightly to our beliefs about how things should unfold, and when reality diverges from our hopes, we experience pain. Yet true mental resilience resides in the ability to release these attachments. Envision a river. It flows freely around obstacles, never resisting or fighting. It does not demand that rocks shift to make way, nor does it cease moving when faced with resistance. It simply adapts. This should be your approach to life. Certain events will occur regardless of how much you worry about them. The job offer that didn't materialize, the person who left, the unexpected setback. You can either resist and endure suffering or choose to adapt and make progress. The decision is always yours. Letting go does not equate to surrendering. Rather, it involves shifting your focus to aspects within your control. Clinging to expectations weakens you, trapping you in a cycle of frustration and replaying past scenarios, wondering what might have changed. However, embracing the truth that certain things remain beyond your influence liberates you from needless suffering. Consider the strongest individuals you know. They aren't the ones who battle against what's inevitable. They are those who maintain their composure amid uncertainty. They have mastered the art of detachment, not from life itself, but from the illusion of control. They recognize that life can be unpredictable, and peace is achieved through flowing with it rather than resisting it. Most individuals invest their energy trying to dictate outcomes, tying their happiness to specific results. If events unfold as they desire, they feel content. If not, they fall apart. This creates a fragile state of being. Weak way to live. True strength lies in adaptability. When you free yourself from unyielding expectations, you cultivate a resilience that renders you unstoppable. No disappointment, setback, or event can shatter your spirit. The essential element of letting go is awareness. The next time you catch yourself clinging too tightly to an outcome, a person, or an expectation, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, then let it go. Don't squander your energy on the unchangeable. Instead, channel it towards something that propels you forward. Detachment is a skill that necessitates practice. Begin with the small stuff. Release minor irritations like a long wait in line, traffic jams, or unexpected shifts in your plans. Notice how liberating it is to refrain from reacting, to prevent outside influences from dictating your emotional state. Gradually, adopt this perspective for larger challenges. Some might confuse detachment with indifference, but they are not synonymous. Indifference reflects apathy, a withdrawal from life's engagement. Conversely, detachment embodies a profound recognition That while you can fully engage in life, you aren't subject to its unpredictabilities. You may care passionately about your goals, relationships, and experiences without suffering when things veer off course. The moment you decide to relinquish control over what you cannot influence, you become unshakable. You navigate life emanating a tranquility that others envy but struggle to comprehend. Amidst their frustration and disappointment, you maintain your poise. They wonder how you achieve this, why your composure seems unflappable. The reality is that you have simply mastered the art of letting go. So, cease resisting, accept reality, adapt to changes, and remember, the strongest minds don't cling. They flow like a river, moving forward untouched by the barriers in their way. Individuals who command respect tend to avoid unnecessary chatter. They prioritize listening, observing, and assessing the environment. When they finally choose to speak, each word is significant. Silence creates discomfort, prompting others to rethink their thoughts and speculate on your perspective. In conversations, the one who speaks less often maintains greater control. Expressions reveal much, yet silence guards secrets. By mastering the art of quietude, you alter the power dynamics, gaining command over dialogue, circumstances, and the way others perceive you. Many find silence unsettling. They have a tendency to fill it with explanations, justifications, and superfluous chatter. Yet by exercising restraint, you compel others to disclose more about themselves. The more they speak, the more they reveal their thoughts, anxieties, and true motivations. Meanwhile, you remain an enigma, and therein lies your strength. Picture yourself in a negotiation scenario. The opponent lays out an offer and anticipates an immediate reply from you. Instead of reacting right away, you take a moment of silence. As you wait, the silence only deepens. The longer you pause, the more anxious they become. They begin to second guess, attempting to fill the void with improved terms, compromises, or even a hint of desperation. This happens because silence induces tension, which subsequently generates leverage. This principle holds true not just in negotiations, but in daily encounters as well. The next time someone hurls an insult at you, choose to remain silent. Many anticipate an angry response, a defense, or retaliation. By giving them nothing, you diminish their power over you, leaving them questioning whether their words had any effect, rendering them feeling foolish. Your silence compels them to confront their own emotions, rather than drawing from yours. Moreover, silence serves as a strategic tool for observation. When you speak less, you become more attuned to your surroundings. You catch the uncertainty in a person's tone, the slight shifts in their posture, or the inconsistencies in their statements. Most people overlook these details, preoccupied with their own words. However, when you excel at silence, you evolve into a strategist, collecting insights without exposing your own thoughts in return. Influential individuals aren't necessarily the loudest voices in the crowd. Rather, they are those who choose their words with care. They avoid squandering energy on trivial discussions. They recognize that saying less doesn't equate to knowing less. In fact, it often signifies greater understanding. If your goal is to enhance your influence through silence, begin practicing self-restraint in conversations. Take a moment before speaking. Survey the environment and listen more than you express. Allow others the opportunity to unveil themselves first. The fewer words you offer, the more inclined people will be to pay attention when you finally do speak. Another strategy for leveraging silence is to welcome it during emotionally charged moments. When anger strikes, remain silent. When faced with an insult, choose silence. If someone demands an immediate reply, take your time. Mastering your speech in heightened situations is the ultimate test of self-discipline, and discipline earns admiration. Powerful individuals do not react impulsively. They don't let emotions steer their words. They perceive that silence can serve as an answer. A pause can communicate more than a multitude of words, and a single moment of stillness can transform an entire discussion. The next time you find yourself in a scenario where someone anticipates your reaction, hold your tongue. Let them wonder, let them reveal themselves, and observe how the balance of power shifts in your favor. In a world where so many strive to be heard, The individual who speaks the least often wields the most authority. Cultivate silence and you cultivate control. Train yourself to maintain composure regardless of the circumstances. Your mind is your battlefield. The thoughts you permit will shape whether you succeed or stumble. Each doubt, each fear, each moment of hesitation represents an adversary that must be defeated. The most resilient people are not those devoid of negative thoughts, but those who refuse to let these thoughts define them. To cultivate a steadfast mind, establish mental habits, practice gratitude to counteract negativity, enforce discipline to combat laziness, and embrace detachment to diminish suffering. Just as physical strength grows through enduring resistance, mental resilience is forged through perseverance. Consistently choose discipline over comfort. You transform into someone who is invincible. Begin with minor steps, committing to routines that bolster your mental resilience. Engage in meditation to enhance your concentration, partake in exercise to reinforce self-discipline, and dedicate time to reading to broaden your perspective. Uphold your promises to yourself, regardless of how minor they may be. Over time, these small commitments accumulate into something immensely powerful, an unyielding mind. The world will put you to the test. Individuals will challenge you, and life will place hurdles in your way. Yet once you conquer your mind, nothing outside of you can unsettle your peace. You will navigate through life exuding a level of confidence, control, and strength that few ever reach. And when others inquire about your unwavering steadiness, your ability to remain unperturbed, and your composure, you will have the clarity of knowing. You prepared for this, you forged this resilience, and nothing can strip it away from you. Mastering the ability to move quietly is essential. True power operates in silence. It seeks not attention nor validation. It simply executes and allows the outcomes to resonate. The loudest individuals in any setting are often the frailest, desperately seeking acknowledgement, proclaiming their intentions, and requiring approval. The strongest, however, proceed with subtlety, strategy, and precision. To command respect, cease broadcasting your plans. Quit justifying yourself to everyone. Focus on your work and make tangible progress. Success is achieved through actions, not words. The more you chatter, the more you invite skepticism and resistance. Conversely, when you operate quietly, your efforts remain unnoticed until it's too late. The most formidable people conserve their energy, letting their achievements speak for themselves. They do not argue, seek admiration, or over-explain. They act with conviction, and this conviction naturally earns respect. The instant you relinquish the need for validation, you begin to become unstoppable. History's most influential figures were not those who incessantly discussed their future endeavors. They recognized that true power does not lie in promises. Consistently opting for discipline instead of comfort transforms you into someone who is unstoppable. Begin with small steps, committing to routines that strengthen your mental resilience. Meditate to enhance your focus, exercise to build discipline, and read to broaden your understanding. Honor your commitments to yourself, no matter how trivial the promise. Over time, these minor actions coalesce into something formidable, an unshakable mind. Life will test you, people will challenge you, and difficulties will arise. But once you master your mind, there's nothing external that can unsettle you. You will navigate through life with an unparalleled sense of confidence, control, and power that few experience. When people wonder how you remain so steadfast, unruffled, and composed, you'll understand the truth. You've prepared for this, you've constructed this capability, and it's yours to keep. Mastering the art of operating in silence is key. True power acts quietly. It doesn't seek the spotlight or require affirmation. It simply executes and allows the outcomes to speak for themselves. The most boisterous individuals in any setting are often the least formidable. They long for acknowledgement, disclose their goals, and look for approval. In contrast, the truly strong act with discretion, strategy, and precision. If you desire respect, cease announcing your ambitions and explaining your choices to everyone. Just get to work and make advancements. Success arises not from words, but from decisive actions. The more you converse, the more you invite scrutiny, skepticism, and resistance. However, when you labor in silence, you remain unnoticed until it's too late. The most resilient individuals conserve their energy by allowing their achievements to communicate for them. They don't engage in arguments, crave to impress, or excessively clarify. They move forward with conviction, and such assurance commands respect. The instant you stop seeking validation, you start to become unstoppable. There's a profound reason why formidable figures throughout history weren't the ones incessantly discussing their next steps. They recognized that true power resides not in idle promises, it's in action. They never felt the need to articulate their vision to those who would never grasp it. Instead, they simply worked in the shadows, creating and establishing dominance without fuss. If you aim to achieve this level of mastery, cultivate the discipline to keep your aspirations to yourself. Strive tirelessly without requiring validation from others. Allow others to speculate about your next steps. Let them ponder how you maintain such an untroubled demeanor. The less insight they have, the more control you wield. Silence is not passivity. It is a calculated tactic that compels others to fill in the blanks, to ponder, to overanalyze, and in that uncertainty, you seize power. When you eventually do voice your thoughts, your words will resonate. People will listen not because you demanded their attention, but because they recognize you don't squander your words. In a society filled with individuals vying for recognition, be the one who remains unbothered by the spotlight. While others pursue attention, you pursue mastery. While they are focused on appearing successful, you concentrate on truly becoming successful. This distinction separates those who merely talk about achieving greatness from those who genuinely accomplish it. If you feel compelled to share your plans, resist that urge. If the need to prove yourself arises, hold back. If you're tempted to display your progress, let your achievements speak on your behalf. The moment you cease seeking external validation, you'll observe a shift. People will begin to take notice. They will start to wonder how you managed to remain so unruffled, and at that point you'll realize you've truly mastered the game, not by broadcasting your intentions, but by demonstrating your capabilities without uttering a word.